Hello and welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmers, where we are on our way to fully restore the Shapebank region. Shaping every region must be one of these shapes. They are 5 tiles high. So they are essentially a bipentomino with an extra 2 tiles to form an L or a T. The minimum that comes out of this cul-de-sac is a 3 from these short ends. On every end of the shape, the earliest point to turn would be after 3 tiles, so this point is always a barrier. Since there's no 2 tile thick lines, these 2 tile wide gaps must be made up of 2 shapes poking in them. You must extend to a 5, thereby you 2 combine. Here are barriers, by the same logic you used up here from the earliest turn point. You can't turn here and combine with yellow, so you must extend. And if it would be a T, then these 2 tiles are isolated. So you're an L, but do we know which way you turn? That might be possible if this one becomes a T. Just noticed here's another 2 tile white gap. Can't remain a 4. You needed to extend to a 5, so now you do come down here and make this a T. If you would turn now to a 5, it isolates this region. So this must be your pentomino part. And then either a T here or L there. But isn't the 4 tile horizontal line impossible to fill in? Apparently not, okay. If it would be a T here, then this is forced to run into this. So must be an L, but that also looked impossible. Oh no, it can. Yeah. So if this would be a T, it forces this to come up here. Since it's now turning, it runs into this, so it doesn't come up there. So you two run into each other and can't go there. Your T like that. You run upwards. Here's a cul-de-sac. You can turn yet, so you must be in L. You join and form a T. You come out and don't join because 6 tiles would be too much. So you must be double L. And the rest can be filled in. One puzzle left to reach gold. Here's one slightly behind this building. Shaping. All runes must be one of these shapes. Rectangle and a white tetromino. You can't be the tetromino, so... If this would be the rectangle, it creates a cul-de-sac here that needs to come down, which now made a small square here that neither shape can fit into. So you must be a horizontal one. Hmm? Oh, 5. 5 is too much. You only have enough space to be a rectangle. This is either a rectangle with a triomino here, or there's 2 horizontal triominoes. So either this and that, or double tetromino. So both share these as a common connected tile. Now we can do the same with this tile. These 3 tiles are connected and either become a rectangle or a tetromino. I had restart on accident. Undo didn't work, so I had to solve until this point again with the rectangle and the tetromino. Now here's a 1 tile gap. You need to come down, but if you join to this tile, they would be 6 tiles high, so they can do it and must be 2 rectangles. And these tetrominos take the remaining tiles. And that was the last puzzle needed to make the window golden. Now onto the challenges. I just checked if this puzzle also counts, and it does. But let's take on the regular challenges first. Shaping. Every region must be one of these shapes. A small square and a big square. The small square is part of the big square, so every corner is at least a small square. Here's a barrier, so that's also a corner. There's something that can be done with this pair of squares. One of them needs to grow to take care of this gap. It goes to this tile to become a big square and then either connects to orange or red. It can't connect to red because that forces a small square here. Because couldn't join these 2 points. And that's a 1 tile gap. Impossible to fill in, so this tile must be orange. Now you can't go any further. And more corners to be at least a small square. Here's also a corner, which restricts your growth. So you need to take care of this gap. You can't grow anymore. This gap is part of you. And more corners. You must remain small. Here's a new gap. If you would join, you would be forward, which is not allowed. Gap. Another 4 high. The squares from these corners will run into each other, so they form a big square. And left over is a small square. Okay, let's see how big of a challenge this 7 is. Extreme challenge ahead. Difficulty 7 is the highest in the game. These puzzles are diabolically tough. We recommend saving them until you've completed most of the game. As you gain experience, you learn subtle tricks to help overcome them. Okay, shaping an L-tetromino and a T-tetromino. Something needs to get out of the cul-de-sac, so at least these tiles are connected. You must be else, but don't know which way they turn yet. Now, which tiles are weak spots and difficult to place into a shape? That corner. A T would need to get outside the grid somewhere. And an L must bend around the corner because it must be this part. It's too far from the other intersections. That's also true for this corner and for not this because it could join to this domino. But at least these 2 tiles are connected. Do I give this color 2 or will it confuse me? Probably Billy would think these 2 must be different if I leave it in. Okay, any other weak spots? You are too far away to join to either one of them? So you must be a new shape. An LZ goes around this corner. And it pushes this L to there. Either this is an L going down, or a T, and both options take this tile. Then one of these. Oh, this L created a new corner here, which must be a bend like those. Now this does join to the lobby middle because there's not enough space left. This must be a T, but still has a lot of options. Here's a new corner that must be an L bend. This must be a T, but can still go in either direction. Okay, back to searching for weak tiles. That must be a new shape, it's too far away from its neighbors. And it needs to get to this tile to reach a size of 4. It still can go either way as an L or a T. Is there a problem with any of those? Don't see any problems. This tile is a new shape. A T can't fit in there, but it could be an L with these two tiles. It's either this L or on the other side, or upwards. You're similar, but you have the flexibility to be a T. It would force them, but that looks like it's going to work. What if they do join? Then L here would work the same, so it's not possible to rule out either option. This tile is more restricted again. Needs to come up to reach a size of 4, can join to green or the corner, and must be an L going through there. This tile. It's too far away to go upwards. So it needs to get down. It has options. At least at blood red. Now it's falling apart. This needs to have a turn there. Note what you know. The key to success in trickier puzzles is marking down partial progress. Merge cells when you know they belong to the same region. Draw borders when you know they exist. Do this immediately, even if you don't know the full shape of a region. Filling in the facts will reveal new ways to make further progress, until the puzzle is complete. Rose windows. Each region contains exactly one of each symbol. And Gemini? The two regions touching this symbol must be the same shape. Each region only has one of each symbol, so there's barriers between pairs of the same symbol. And they need to extend until they find a partner. This shape needs to grow upwards. Blocks its own Gemini into a single column, so it can't grow any wider. The red dot blocks them from growing any further, so they remain a 4. These two tiles need to have a symbol in them, so they need to connect. You need to find a partner. Could still go further. You need to get your blue. This Gemini means you are domino. You can only get your red from here. This is a Gemini of a white triomino, so it can't run into the pentomino. You need to get out and connect to this Gemini, so now you are a U pentomino. Connect the symbols. You contain red already. If this shape takes this tile, it's a T tetromino, and its Gemini must also be one, but it doesn't look like it could fit without taking two of the same symbol. So it can take this tile and must remain a triomino. And the Gemini can only reach this red dot. That means you already have a blue partner, and here's a barrier. Can't go there because it's already known to be an L triomino. This tile is a Gemini of a big shape. that can only fit in like this. That was the shaping region. Next time there's no rules. Thank you for watching. Wait, I forgot to check it. Did it count? Yes, +3. Thank you for watching.